Exciting times here for Conq football. Matt Unruh here with head football coach Gary Thomas is coaching for me just before we got going. This is the most wins for the Conqs since 1983 and can have the most wins since, I think, 64. Is that what you said?
61, I believe.
61, if we get the victory this week. A big, big win. Top 25 matchup. 19th ranked Conqs taking on the 12th ranked Ravens of Coffeyville, and coach come away with a victory 34-28. And looking over at the scoring summary, held the lead the whole time except for that 0-0 tie, of course.
Yeah, well, we were tied 7-7 too, I think, at one point. But yeah, we for the most part controlled the game. We were on the verge of going up 3 scores at 3 or 4 different times in the game. Couldn't get it done. Found ways to get in our own way, and then actually gave them a chance with the ball last to beat us, and they couldn't do it. So it was it was a close one at the end.
34-28 the final score. And looking at the stats, coach, 401 yards of total offense. Got to feel good about that.
Yeah, we did some things well on offense on Saturday. We just consistency beat us down a little bit. We turned the ball over twice, and they were 2 big turnovers that were both in the middle of productive drives, and both of them led to short fields and scores for their offense. We muffed a punt where we had an opportunity on that possession to go up 3 scores, gave them a short field. They scored again. That accounted for their 21st point, and then we actually dropped an interception on the next drive that they threw right to us, which accounted for the 28th point. So all of the things that they got, we kind of gave them, and the game didn't need to kind of play out that way. But we ran the ball relatively well most of the time. We threw the ball kind of sporadically. They were dropping a lot of guys in coverage. They played a defense that they had not shown in any of their previous games versus us, so we had some adjusting to do.
Why do you feel like they switched it up defensively for you?
Well, I think their previous opponents that we had the opportunity to break down, I think some of them were geared more towards run or pass one way or the other. I think we're a little bit more dynamic in the ability to throw and run equally well, so they had to balance up a little bit to defend both, which isn't a problem. It's what we're accustomed to. However, we didn't practice a lot of what we were facing, so we had to do some adjusting on the run, and made some plays at some point in some time, but definitely a lot to be able to clean up, and a lot that we need to work on still.
Well, it got to feel good if you didn't play your very cleanest, best football game and still beat number 12 in the nation. Like you said, fairly balanced attack, 171 passing yards, 230 rushing yards, and Tommy Lazzaro, 15 of 24, 2 TDs and 1 interception, at least more on the side of the TDs on the ratio. And then Mark Thompson, 153 yards rushing, and got to be the best back in the conference this year.
Yeah, statistically, I think he is. Scoring-wise, I think there's a couple other guys that are right up there with him, but he's had a lot of carries in some key games, and there's some games where we've kind of taken our foot off the gas with him too, so he's not just getting pounded into the ground. But he's having a productive season, and we still got a lot left to go though. And
Tommy Lazzaro showing his feet too. 19 carries, 68 yards, showing his ability to run a little bit.
Yeah, and some of those were pass plays that kind of evolved into run plays because of the coverages that they were giving us and dropping so many guys into coverage. Some of them we had a couple quarterback draws in there, and then we had some designed quarterback runs that were productive for us down the stretch. Him coming downhill is a pretty effective weapon a lot of times, just because he's so big and strong, and he has the ability to move people. When you need short gains, you can get them. So that was another aspect that we really haven't done much of this year, trying to conserve his health and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But at the end of the day, when you get 2 games left, you need to pull out all stops to make sure you have a chance to win. So,
well, receiving-wise, Justin McGinnis with the touchdown, Jeff George with the touchdown, 68 yards for receiving for Justin McGinnis off 4 catches, 5 catches for Jeff George for 54 yards, 3 for Christian Booker. Another balanced attack receiving-wise. Tommy Lazzaro spreading it out and hitting the open guy.
Yeah, and getting Christian Booker back this week was a big plus for us, coming off his injury from a couple weeks ago. So he makes us more dynamic when we get into some of our spread formations, which we've kind of had to we've had to fake our way through the last couple of weeks, and to have 4 legit wideouts out there, they can get open, does make us a lot more dynamic and a lot more difficult to defend. And then when you add in, we have the ability with the tight ends and the fullbacks and the running game that we have, we can get into a lot of different formations and force people to defend a whole bunch of different things, which it makes us difficult to defend.
And then special teams wise, Dylan Burkhart, 2 of 3 on field goals, hit a 47-yarder. Good to have that 40-plus range with the field goal game.
He hit 2 big ones. He missed one too, but he hit 2 big ones. We also blocked 2 punts. Kyle Martin blocked both of them. So we were pretty dynamic. Other than the muffed punt, we were pretty good in the special teams aspect of the game. We had 2 big kickoff returns that were probably close to 50 yards each. We had 1 good punt return, and we had 2 blocked punts, and we hit 2 field goals. So we did a whole bunch of different things in the special teams game, which gave us an opportunity to have a couple short fields, which on a few of them we did score, and that was and a couple big turnovers by our defense as well, which gave us those opportunities.
Yeah, and tackles for loss too. Quandraco Statham with 1.5 tackles for loss. Gary Johnson getting a sack in there, a couple sacks for Deion Dawson. How do you feel about the day defensively, Coach?
They played really well. We knocked their starting quarterback's probably going to be the conference player of the year. His stats are just off the chart. In the second series of the game, we knocked him out of the game. So their backup came in and took him a minute to kind of get rolling, but he was effective towards the end and threw the ball really well in the second half. And that's something that we've got to do a better job of defending. A couple balls that we tipped right to him. And we had opportunities to stop people. We just didn't do it. So, again, going into this week, they're going to have a quarterback that's going to be a little bit more dynamic with his ability to run and just kind of throw it up. And the receivers will be equally as talented. So it's going to be a challenge for our defense this week.
Well, you mentioned the passing game. Cole Murphy for the Ravens, 19 of 45, so obviously throwing a lot of passes, but percentage-wise on completions pretty low. Did have 4 touchdowns with a pick in there as well, 273 yards. And obviously a team that loves to throw the ball. How do you feel about the secondary and cornerbacks against the Ravens?
Like I said, they played pretty well. We did a couple things incorrectly, which resulted in big plays. I mean, they're throwing for well under 50%, but they're also throwing for close to 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So they were ripping them off in chunks. By and large, we were effective in defending them majority of the time, but it's not about the majority, it's about the score at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So, what we did well, but the things that we didn't do well, we've got work to do, which is we didn't do a great job of defending some of the big plays, and they beat us in some long yardage. They converted a 4th and 15 on us, and threw a couple long touchdowns, which one of them we had an opportunity to intercept, and we just tipped it right to them, and they got a chance to walk in the end zone. So again, it's guys misjudging the ball, and we need to work on some of our ball skills when we have an opportunity to go get the football, an equal opportunity to go get the football. We've got to go get it.
Big win this week, Coach, and sets things up for possible conference championship after the 34-28 win over Coffeyville. And Coach, on this route to a potential conference championship, some big wins in there. I mean, last week's big win over Coffeyville, win over Hutch. It got to give your team and your program some confidence to be able to go head-to-head with some real powerhouses in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, we feel like we can play with anybody in the country when we play well. I was telling our guys before the game, if you look at the perception of the Jayhawk Conference, and even asking our own kids, they said, okay, I'm in pregame. In the last 3 years in the Jayhawk Conference in football alone, who are the perceived best 3 teams in the conference? Most people would probably argue that it's Butler, Hutch, and Coffeyville. Mm-hmm. In the last 3 years, there's only 2 teams in the entire Jayhawk Conference that have had, going into the last game of the season, had an opportunity to win a conference championship. There's only 2. In 2013, Butler won a conference championship. In 2014, Hutch won the conference championship. In 2015, Butler has a piece of the conference championship, so they're one of the 2 teams. the other team is actually Dodge City Community College. In 2013, going into our last game of the year, we would have won a piece of the conference championship, and we lost that last game of the year. And this year, going into the last game of the year, we have an opportunity for a conference championship. So again, perception and reality are very different. And maybe we don't do a good enough job of tooting our own horn and letting people do that. Obviously, we weren't very good last year, but no other school, Coffeyville included, Hutch included, Highland included, has had an opportunity to play for 2 conference championships in the last 3 seasons, and that's something that we're pretty proud of.
Well, one thing that would help, Coach, to get that recognition is get the win this Saturday, a huge game and a chance to hold that share of the conference championship. And I don't know when the last time that's happened, Coach, when you could say that the Conqs were on top of the Jayhawk, but a great opportunity this Saturday as Highland comes to town, and obviously not going to be something that should be overlooked. Highland, a very good team, and they were right there with a chance for the conference championship as well until falling to Butler last week. So your thoughts on the Scotties?
They were sloppy in the first half last week, and really in the end that cost them the game. I mean, Butler got up pretty quickly because of the turnovers, a pick 6, and a couple other things, and but they actually almost shut them out except for 2 field goals in the second half. They're a dynamic defensive football team, and that's going to be the challenge for us is just how they're a 50 front. They're an athletic and big and strong 50 front, so they give you some unique shades that makes it difficult to get off of, to combo blocks to different places. They put pressure on you in the secondary, and they're athletic enough to do it. Offensively, like I said, their quarterback's pretty dynamic. He can run around when things break down. He just kind of chucks it up, and they're athletic at receiver. And they do a pretty good job protecting him. So we have challenges on both sides of the football in that, we've got to keep that quarterback contained, and we've got to limit the big plays that he's going to just chuck it up down the field. But we've got to sustain some drives on offense and keep them off the field and be able to score points and manufacture points. Over the last, probably with the exception of their loss to Iowa Central, which kind of came out of nowhere, over the last 4 weeks of the season, they're as good of a football team as there is in junior college football, and that's going to be a good challenge for us on Saturday.
So would you say, Coach, that a majority of their offense comes through their quarterback, whether he's running it or throwing it? Yeah,
I'd say a good percentage. They have 2 capable running backs. They just I don't think it's a huge part of what they do. And we're also, right now, we're giving up about 80 yards rushing a game. We're in the top 5 in the country in rushing defense. I don't know that they'll probably choose to try to knuckle up and muscle it down the middle of our defense. I think it's going to be more finesse and scramble and try to muddy the waters up a little bit and try to manufacture things that way. But, we'll find that out on Saturday.
Matt Under with Coach Thomas. Gary Thomas, head football coach for the DC3 Conqs. A huge game this Saturday, and it is a home game at Memorial Stadium. So come out, support the Conqs. 1 p.m. kickoff. And if you can't make it, 1550 a.m. the Sports Hound and conqsports.com. Damon Post on the call. And also team1sports.com/DC3 if you're wanting to watch it on live stream. But preferably come out with the purple and support the Conqs this Saturday. A huge game and a win, and we've got the conference championship share with Butler. And Butler has guaranteed the share because they have a non-conference game this weekend. So it's all on the Conqs on whether they control their own destiny here this weekend. Highland coming to town, 1 p.m. kickoff. Weather, you might bring a jacket on Saturday from what we've seen.
It's going to be a little cool.
Shouldn't be too bad. That's probably what you expect for the 7th of November. The last question for you, Coach. I know you haven't had practice yet, but you met with your team. Do they have the feeling of how big of a deal this is to potentially have the conference championship? What's the feel with the players right now?
I tell them just so they understand the historical significance of what they're accomplishing, but I don't know that it really sinks in because they don't have a frame of reference to compare it to. They haven't. Casey Malek's been here for 38, 39 years. He understands the historical significance and people who have made a career here at Dodge City Community College. They understand how long it's been, and there's so many people in this town that have just lost interest in community college football because there hasn't been a good product here at home.
Well, hopefully that changes this week.
Absolutely, but I don't think they're, you can tell it to them and they can probably dictate it back to you that they heard it somewhere. But to literally talk about not having it for 33 to 35 years is a pretty long time. And if you win one more, 1961 is a long time ago. So some of the things that we have a chance to accomplish, are pretty remarkable. And all we can do is take this last game and focus on it. And we got 5 days left of our season guaranteed. If we're fortunate enough to play in a bowl game after that, then we get it extended by one game, and we got a month, an extra month of football to play. But right now, that's not guaranteed, and all we can focus on is the next 5 days in front of us.
Yeah, Conqs and Highland, 1 p.m. kickoff from Memorial Stadium this Saturday, taking on a Highland team that's 4-2 in 5-4 overall, but 4-2 in the Jayhawk is a very strong record. So a team to be reckoned with this Saturday for the Conqs. For Gary Thomas, I'm Matt Unruh. Hopefully we'll see you on Saturday.